Hi, this is Eshu. Welcome to Living Zen, Red Mountain Way. This talk was given just after the summer solstice, a moment in the year that mirrors our Zen practice in such a rich way. It's about cycles, breath, arising and dissolving, and the strange human desire for everything to progress in a straight line. I've recently returned to the zendo at Zenwest and to more regular teaching. Alongside these talks, I'm also sharing reflections, behind-the-scenes notes, and the unfolding journey of this return over on Patreon at patreon.com/redmountainway. For those who want to walk more closely with me in this process, you'll find more there. Now, here's the talk. Well, welcome. This morning I'm aware it's just following the solstice, the longest day, the most light. Aware of this pattern a pattern that we follow in Zen, just even with our breath, with every aspect of our form and of our practice. This practice of arising, being born, inhaling, doing that fully with awareness and attention till we come to the top of the breath. We are full of air, and then there's a pause, I guess. It doesn't have to be long, you don't have to hold your breath. An awareness that having arisen completely, having fully come to the peak, there is only one thing to do, and that is to continue the activity with the exhale. Breathing all the way out with awareness down in our abdomen, in our hara. And as we breathe all the way down, we reach the bottom. And again, there's a pause, just a brief one. And then we turn and the breath cycle begins again. It's a reflection of this activity that's going on all around us in all things, all the time. And I think it's helpful to just sort of take a moment to understand, the solstice, it's the stationing of the soul. It's the stopping of the sun. There's this moment where even the activity of the sun in a way kind of pauses for a moment before the facing the opposite activity begins. Yesterday my friend was talking about, oh no, the days are getting shorter now. I'm just starting to like this light. In the Gallic tradition, they say after the solstice, the days change by the length of a step of a rooster every day. Things move slowly at the beginning after that pause. And so we sort of turn to face our practice this way, this activity. I think whether we're talking about our progress as a human being, whether that's through education or whether that's through physical growth or spiritual practice, I think there's this real innate desire for practice to continue in this very kind of consistent linear fashion. that we just want to have a constant kind of like ramping increase in how we engage in our practice. And when we sit deeply, when we practice, when we become aware of this activity, my first teacher said the activity of plus and minus, the activity of birth and death, the activity of arising and dissolving. When we witness this in everything, in our bodies, in our breath, in the sun, in the seasons, we can recognize that expectation of life, that expectation of our path, that expectation of our progress to be linear starts to make less and less sense. And I think that's really important, because what happens when our expectation for linear development, for constant growth, meets with the reality of our lives lived? And whether you're 20 or whether you're 80, looking back, looking at the evidence, in our own lives, what is it that has proceeded in that linear way? Is it our career? Is it our physique? Is it our relationships? Is it our spiritual insight? Is there anything that has followed that linear way? I can't come up with anything in my own life, so maybe I should just speak for myself. But I can certainly say that man, even now, when I feel like I'm making steps in the direction that I want to go, and then things start to break apart, there can be a fear, there can be anxiety. I was just making progress. I was just getting so close to where I wanted to be. Now it's all falling apart. And just like we expect the progress to be continuous in a single direction, in a linear fashion, as soon as there's the slightest wavering, we can project that the decline is also going to follow that direct, linear, constant, and we're going to end up losing everything. And we do this with feelings too, We feel a little bit of anger, or we feel a little bit of grief, or we feel a little bit of discomfort in our body. We think, oh God, I can't allow this. I can't let this come up, because my goodness, if I let it come up, it's just going to go in a linear way till it's too much for anybody, and that's going to be really bad. One of the things that's great about sitting for a long time is you'll have these waves of emotion that come up that are held by the container of form. And because of the container of form, you don't have an opportunity to act out on them. You can't run around screaming, or maybe you can fall apart sobbing, but that's, that's okay. But what you find is that these things too, they arise and they exist, and then that activity kind of stations. Then we can also watch it diminish. And just like everything, just like a financial improvement in your life, or just like a learning improvement in your life, when that activity comes, even negative things, even pain, even anger, even grief, when it sort of does that stationing and starts to diminish, that thing that we were sort of either sort of trying to drive or trying to get away from, our emotion also shifts towards it. We're sad, we're crying, we're grieving. Oh, this is terrible. But then there's also this kind of spaciousness that comes from that release of emotions. And then we start to feel it diminishing, and we can kind of fall into this, can I get that back? And we start trying to look for that grief to get it back, when the activity that's naturally happening is this activity of dissolution. The wave is receding. When we're doing long sits, I see this a lot in myself, and I know it to be true in others, that when we're sitting for long periods, we're sitting, it's good for a while, but then those periods start to feel really long. And you're sitting in the zendo, your legs are sore and your back is tired, and you're thinking, oh gosh, I just wish the Jikijitsu would ring the bell so we could do walking meditation. Oh, this is miserable. Can we just do some walking meditation? And the Jikijitsu rings the bell, and you go, relief. And you stand up and you start doing walking meditation. And 2.5 minutes into the walking meditation, you just want to sit down. It's the same pattern. And so this practice that we have, just being, without trying to predict, without trying to project, without trying to be anywhere other than where you are in that ongoing pattern of activity of arising and dissolving. And that's the simple way to put it. And that's why we try to keep practice very simple. It seems like there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of structure, but those are gifts, kindnesses of this practice, because it allows us within that container that's so clearly delineated, it allows us to just deeply relax. I think I was saying last week, it's much like a laboratory. It's a controlled environment so that we can really come to clearly see what's going on inside of it and inside of us. It's easy when we're living our everyday lives to project out, oh, this is happening to me, oh, this person is making me feel like this, oh, it's because of this that I'm this way. And when we come into this zendo, this way of practice, it's kind of a great leveling tool where we just get to sort of be with whatever is arising. To focus on this activity of arising and dissolving as it's manifesting in our body every moment. And when we get stuck, when we find ourselves perseverating about a particular task that we need to do, or about a particular interaction that we had with somebody, or about a particular feeling that's arising, and we realize that we're so wrapped up in that thing that we've lost the breath. We've been doing it the whole time, of course, well, I hope, but it's just nowhere in our awareness. And so we can come back to the breath. One of my teachers once gave this exercise that's like something that you can do is, if that feeling or if that thought or if that interaction keeps coming up, then you take up your posture, you open your eyes fully, just looking in front of you, and you bring that thought up. And you just focus all of your energy, making it as concrete in your mind as you possibly can. And then you turn the activity intentionally, relaxing your body as you exhale, closing your eyes, completely letting it wash out. And then you can do it again. You breathe. You bring it in. Oh, I'm so pissed off at that guy. And then you turn again. And just in that activity, you may find that the grip that it has on you diminishes, that your connection with your breath and your body increases, and that you're able to really allow the stickiness of that thing to just pass through, to allow it to dissolve naturally. And it's not about getting over any one thing that arises. It's not about any one interaction, any one upset, any one physical discomfort or circumstance in your life. It's about this activity. It's about this pattern that will happen over and over and over again in your life. And one of the great gifts that our practice can offer is just this capacity to be aware when it's happening, when we're engaged in that activity. In early Buddhism, there's this concept of the wheel-turning king. And the idea of the wheel-turning king is that the wheel has all of the spheres of life, all of the realms in it. And the wheel-turning king is able to turn that wheel, is able to move the world as he wishes. The alternative is that the wheel turns you. The alternative is that these waves that are rising and falling in our lives spin us around and around, and we feel like we're strapped into a roller coaster. We can't see what's coming. Everything is unexpected. And generally unpleasant, because it's not what we expected. And this practice of being aware when we're locked onto something, when what's happening is at odds with what we planned or what we wanted or what we expected, this is the point of suffering. This is the sort of sparking point, the pilot light of suffering, when what's manifesting in this moment is at odds with what we want or planned or expected. And so we always have this tool with us, this breath, this body. And when we're able to soften into awareness of that breath, what's happening in this very moment right now, we realize that all of the suffering, all of the disappointment and shame and grief that we're associating with that differentiation, we're kind of giving birth to it. We're fueling it. So what we can do in this practice, and what we're practicing in a way, is just over and over and over again, coming back through the vehicle of our bodies, through the vehicle of our breath, to what's naturally unfolding in this very moment. Without judgment, without projection, just really with a kind of deep, sincere honesty. Seeing things just as they are, hearing things just as they are, feeling things just as they are. And to be clear, that doesn't last either. We don't find some magical place where that just happens. We flip on the always be in the present moment switch, and now we have no problem. Innumerable tempting thoughts, innumerable challenging puzzles or whatever it is that we have a proclivity towards, they float by on the stream of our life, and sometimes we're able to just stay totally grounded and watch them go, and other times we grab on. Rinzai, Master Linji says, it's like a sticky lacquer tray. It's like a freshly painted or lacquered tray it's so pretty. You can't help but touch it. But man, when you get that sticky lacquer on your fingers, it tends to get all over everything in your life. So, cultivating this capacity to just allow those things to pass, particularly as we sit, but the more we're able to do it as we sit, we find the more we're able to do it as we go out into our relationships, into our work, into the world. So on this day of, a couple days after solstice, taking a moment to just really reflect this idea that's in the sutras and the Buddha's teachings over and over again. We've got these nice books that have things written down in them. We've got many, many teachers who have given many, many teachings, but the Buddha taught that, this is the Dharma. This is the law, is one translation of the Dharma. But it is the activity, the fundamental activity of the cosmos that's manifesting in every moment, in everything, all the time. And so the Buddha taught, if you open your Dharma eye, if you open this capacity to see it, the teachings in the books are secondary to the teachings that are being preached and sung and expounded by the blossoming of the flowers and the growing of the trees and the leaping of the deer and the solstice of the sun. The Dharma is being preached in everything. So we start with what's very simple, the breath. Okay.
Thanks for listening. The talk you just heard is part of a broader rhythm that I'm stepping back into, returning to formal Zen teaching and community at Zenwest, and reflecting deeply on the traditions, forms, choices, and challenges that come with that. If you'd like to follow that journey more intimately, to hear more talks, read personal reflections, and get a look inside the living process of teaching and practicing Zen in this time and in this place, join me at patreon.com/redmountainway. And as always, I appreciate your time and your attention, your commitment, and your practice. Until next time, be well.